Heyo, Monk on the Hill here. If you are a chainsaw beginner like I was 8 years ago, then this video is for you because I'm going to tell you everything that I learned about using a chainsaw. 8 years ago, I picked that boy up right from the store. The guy there told me the most important things about it, and that was it. Packed it in my car, drove all the way here to Bulgaria without touching it one time. But the day had to come. Before my first winter, I had to get some wood done, and that's where my chainsaw journey started. It's one of the most important tools on the homestead, even if you only need a quick cut on a board or a pole. If it doesn't have to be precise, this is the quickest one to get the job done. I'll try to go over the most important points, so if this video is getting a bit lengthy, feel free to use the chapters that I'll put in, or I'll even cut it up into shorts and you'll find the single topics on my channel. I also searched YouTube for chainsaw videos before using this, just to gather information. There was especially one topic that I've seen that the so-called experts have done, where I was thinking, expert? That's a bit more of a philosophical approach, but later to that. This can be a really nasty tool if not handled right. That's why before you do your first cut, think about safety. Back to the day where I first grabbed this machine to do some cutting, I showed up like that. Yes, German ancestry. Sicher ist sicher. And I just had Bulgarian workers here at my place, and they were smiling at me. They weren't laughing, they were polite, but I've seen it in their eyes. So I had it all. Ear protection, face protection, cut-safe gloves, cut-safe jacket, trousers, and heavy boots with steel cap. After a while I realized how the Bulgarian safety equipment looks like. That's about it. Especially the Bulgarian safety shoes. It's often simple flip-flops. Well, they are usually topless, but I'll spare you that. And after only 1 or 2 days working in my previous outfit in 30 degrees plus Celsius, I pretty quickly adapted to the Bulgarian style. Not as extreme as that. And nowadays, this is more or less my chainsaw outfit. Still got some glasses for the worst bits and pieces that might fly into my eyes. And most important, I kept the boots. I learned it the hard way, because if one of these bad boys is falling on your toe, you'll get a black toenail, and that'll take about a year to heal. As you can see, they are not high enough, but no pain, no gain. What chainsaw to pick? Seriously, me at that time having no idea. I just told the guy what I want to do with it, and that's mainly firewood. Every now and then felling a tree on my property, and I told him that I'm a beginner, so he gave me this, and that's what I'm having now. It's not the biggest one, probably also not the strongest one, but it's getting the job done. By the brand of what I know, Stihl or Husqvarna. Stihl is from Germany, Husqvarna from Sweden, and they both exactly know what they are doing. With these two brands, you'll get something that will last. I don't know about American brands, I'm sure there are some good ones out there. With these two brands, you're on the good side. When it comes to starting your chainsaw, that's the point where so many experts are showing you, heck, I don't know what. Of course, we all know how to start a chainsaw. You need to find a stable grip on it. Let's say like that, and pull the starter. Of course not. Always stay away from the chain. But it's not what I learned, and not what a logical mind would call safety. You constantly see the guys freehand pulling the starter and the chain runs. It looks pretty cool, but you only can do that if the motor is already hot. Once the machine is hot, you can be the cool guy as well. For a cold start, everything happens on the ground. Another expert in his chainsaw shop did the following to start his chainsaw. You see how wide this part here is? It has a reason. It's for your foot. But what this guy did was that, and then pulling the starter. But put in your own thinking. Be logic. The toes are your most flexible part of your feet. So in the worst case, you can lift that up. My proper work boots wouldn't even fit in there. That thing is meant for your heel. When you stand on it like that, that chainsaw won't go anywhere. Here we have the start and stop switch. That's off and nothing will happen at all. That's on working mode, and we have the choke further down. For that you need to hold down both releases, then you get it down into choke mode. That's for the cold start. Here we have the chain brake. If that's triggered forward, it all blocks. It all stops. Nothing can happen anymore. To release it, pull back. Cutting with a chainsaw, always go full speed. Don't hesitate, because only a chainsaw that's actually cutting is a safe chainsaw. When you're struggling and you have to put force onto the machine, bad things might happen easier than if everything is going just smooth. You can actually cut with all the parts of the chain all over the place, but there's one dangerous zone that's going from here to here. If you try to cut with that bit, the chain is spinning in this direction, and that's when you will get a kickback. The saw will kick up right towards your face. Definitely not where you want to have a chainsaw. That's where the chain brake comes in handy, because if your chain comes upwards, your hand automatically will stop the chain from spinning. When it finally comes to cutting wood, never ever let the chain touch the ground. It will dull it in a split second. So if your wood is on the ground, never cut all the way through, go 3/4, roll the log over and then cut the rest. Or have a picaroon. As always, for all the products you see here, I'll leave you links in the description. If you want to buy them there on Amazon, you'll support me a little bit. Thanks. Half the wood on other wood. Your chain goes through the wood, the next thing it'll hit is more wood. Good for the chain. If you don't have that much wood laying around, use an old tire underneath. So if you're going too deep, you'll just hit rubber. Unless you're as stupid as I am and you took one of those that has metal in there. That didn't help my chain at all. When is it time to sharpen your chainsaw? You should start thinking about sharpening your chain when you have to put force into the saw. The saw should go down more or less by itself. The saw should do the work. The other thing is, always have an eye on the wood chips that your chain is putting out. This is not what you want. These aren't chips, this is sawdust. And with that, you'll get nowhere. At least this is how it's supposed to look like. Here you can see how the chain is ripping out bits and pieces out of the wood. Many reasons speak for a nicely sharpened chain. First, of your own work, it's much easier with a freshly sharpened chain. The job gets done faster, and the saw itself don't have to work that much. You're saving on gas. It's always an absolute pleasure to switch from a dull to a sharp chain. Now, how do you sharpen a chainsaw chain? When I got sick of paying ridiculous prices to get it sharpened, I went to the closest steel shop and asked for a tool. This is what he gave me. I asked him, what about the depth gouge? Don't these need to be filed down as well? And old granddad there said, oh no, that's not important. So much to experts. Now he gave me this file. What I'm supposed to do with this is go like that. And of course there's this angle in there and you have to maintain it all the time. What do you think about that, Fly? Is it sharp enough yet? Obviously not. So you have to maintain this exact angle with every stroke on every tooth. And being not really experienced like I am, I wasn't really sure if I would make it even worse. So I got me a little help, and that's this little tool here. It's pretty genius. It's from the company Fert. It's another German brand. They have nice instructions on here on where to approach the chainsaw from what side. The same on the other side. With this bar, it's laying on the next tooth and giving you the right height for the first one. That'll get filed, and in addition it has the flat file here, and that'll automatically will take care of the depth gouge right down here. When you're done with one side, just flip it around and go for the other side. But still, I was pretty insecure about my filing skills. That's when I saw this machine here, pretty cheap in a supermarket. An electric chainsaw file system. I mounted it on this board so I can take it wherever I want to, but for that we need to get the chain off the saw. Let's do that quickly. For that we lose the tension a little bit. More to that later on. Open the main screw. If you have a larger saw, then you might have two of these. Remove the cap. Remove the whole bar with the chain. Take chain off. Now this is a bit the fumbly part. That's why I like to do that on a chair outside. You put the chain in here. Then you either mark the tooth you're starting with, or depends on the length of the chain. Mine has two going in the same direction. See, these two are different than this one. So I'll start here. When I arrive there, I'll know it. Here you would lock it. But first we have to adjust the whole machine. So we bring that wheel down. That's already not too bad in here. You really need to be accurate here. There are three things you have to adjust to get that really nice and sharp. And what I do, I check on after this movement where the scratches on the disc are. If they are nice and even, then I'm good. So what you have to adjust is first, of course, the angle. The disc and the tooth need to be on one line. The next thing you have to adjust is the depth. How far down will the disc go? For this you have this screw here. That'll stop the whole mechanism down there. And last but not least, this screw here, it'll push the chain forward or backwards that you get the right distance from the disc to the tooth. Once you have it all set up, from then on, it's the easy part. You fixate the chains so it won't go anywhere. Turn the machine on and always go very quick. You don't want that chain to be heating up, and you don't want to take too much of it. It only needs a quick sharpening. And then go tooth by tooth. Open up, go two teeth forward. And once you reach your marked tooth, or in my case the tooth that go the same direction, you have to switch the angle. Ideally it's the same, just the other way around, but I don't really trust that cheap plastic thingy. So I always double check back up here on the tooth itself, and if necessary adjust it a little. And while the chain is nicely fixed on here, I'll take this tool here, open it up and take the files out, leaving me only the flat one in there. This is giving me the perfect setup to go over the depth gouges, because here it's sitting on a tooth, under here is the depth gouge. I can just give that couple of strokes to bring it down again on the right height. Why this is so important: if this is too high, in the worst case it's higher than the blade itself, so the blade won't even have the possibility to get into the wood. It always has to be a little deeper than the tooth itself. To check what good of a job you've done, you look on the teeth, let some light shine on them. If it's all shiny metal, then you've done a good job. If there are some corners missing, or being still dark metal, then you probably had machine set up a little too wrong. Usually it's the angle that's not perfect, so you're missing out the tip or something that's pretty important there. Despite my 8 years of experience, I still don't call myself an expert, and I really want to show you the difference between a dull and a really sharp chain, and that's why we'll put on an absolutely new one. Now this thing is razor sharp, and you always have to be careful where and how you touch it. Hold your bar, maybe like that. Get the chain over it, just drop it, give it a little bit of tension. Make sure you're aware of what way the chain will spin and where the teeth are. So this one will go that way. That's where the sharp teeth are now. Get it around the sprocket. Now and the bar goes right on it. That ball needs to come in this hole. So this bit here defines the distance of your whole bar going forward and backwards. And with this screw here, you can move that thing forward and backwards. To show you again how this works, you see how loose the chain is now. If we move the whole bar forward now, the chain gets tighter and tighter. How tight that needs to be, I'll tell you in a minute. All that's left to do, cover it up, screw back on. Don't tighten it all the way already. We have some more work to do. How tight a chainsaw chain needs to be. This is obviously way too loose, so we tension it up. And the tension we want to have is we need to be able to move the chain forward without the whole machine moving along. So if you can do that, that's good. And now for the final, we pull the bar up and tighten it up well. That's it. And while you're working, you want to keep on checking on the tension of the chain, because if you're cutting with it, everything will get hot, and by that metal expands, so you constantly have to have an eye on that. If you're working with a too loose chain, your sprocket that sits in here might soon look like that, and you have to change it. Let's see how a new chain is doing. Goes through it like butter. Now the saw is doing the work and not you. Another thing I'd like to mention are these nasty looking teeth here. They come in pretty handy. When you cut in already a little, you can have these teeth right in the wood. They will stay there, and all you have to do is turn the saw around this circle point. And what do you need to put into your chainsaw? This one is a 2-stroke motor. So in here goes the mix of benzene and oil. You know, these little mixing bottles up here with benzene, and then that little oil. And there's more oil to it. It's this one here that always needs to be filled up, and it has nothing to do with the motor. That's actually oiling the chain, and that's why when you have lots of wood together and you're making one cut here, then you'll see a line of oil spilled on the log in front of it. That's the oil from the chain that's getting splashed over there. I hope I could give you a good idea about your new chainsaw. I wish you happy cutting. If you liked it, subscribe, leave a like, and see you in the next one. And yeah, the thing with the experts, very often I ask myself, when are you an expert? I'm now working with this machine for 8 years, and I'm definitely not calling myself an expert. So many times I hear things from so-called experts. When I compare them to my own knowledge or even direct experiences, I ask myself, what makes this guy an expert? But yeah, I guess it's all a learning curve.